Hey there, this is 2 days in a row, a video 2 days in a row, and I've wrapped my head around what I want to call these videos that I'm doing this week. I'm going to do one video every day this week. That's the plan. And I'm going to do one video a week like this through to the first of the year. There's a real special reason why, and it's all in the name. I like to name things because it helps me just to organize my thought, especially when it comes to my purpose for doing something. And so this whole series of videos that you'll get the rest of this week and one a week for the rest of the year, we're going to call these, this whole video series, Remix in 26. Remix in 26, because Remix in 2026 didn't have quite the same feel. Remix in 26. Remix in 26. Remix in 26. Yeah, okay, that works. Remix in 26. What do I mean by that? Let me step back for just a second. Every year, before the first of the year, I take the last 8 weeks of the year to begin planning what I want to move toward or move into for the coming year. And I've learned through doing this enough time, especially the last 30 years, that you don't really stand a chance if you just drop in on January the 1st and start trying to get things done. I mean, a ton of people do that with New Year's resolutions, and we've got enough data to know how horribly everybody crashes and burns on their New Year's resolutions. And a lot of it is that you need to take a little time in preparation for whatever it is that you're trying to change or improve in your life, in your career, in whatever situation you're looking at. And so this whole series of videos that I'll do are really focused on helping you to prepare for whatever it is that you have planned for 2026. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks, I really want you to put a lot of thought and a lot of care and a lot of due diligence into however you would like to see positive change in your life, in your situation, in your career specifically. And so in thinking about that, I wanted to share something with you this week, or in this video, about the idea of dreams versus vision. And I hear that word dream tossed around a lot. All over social media, you're going to see people hashtag live in there. I see musicians do it all the time, where they've got a shot of them at the gig, whatever particular gig is. It could be a bar gig, it could be a wedding gig, it could be a theater gig, it could be about to play in front of 50,000 people. Hashtag living the dream. And I can't tell you how many people that I talk to that don't do what I do for a living. They don't do it day in and day out as their career path, working with music and audio. And I've heard more times than I can count people go, man, it must be amazing. You're living your dreams. To have your dreams actually come true. Oh my gosh, that must be... For that reason alone, I don't really like to use the word dream. I mean, I don't have anything against it, but words are important to me. And the specificity of words is doubly important to me. The words you choose to use to focus how you see the world are incredibly important. To me, dreams are this airy-fairy kind of clouded vision of or clouded view of what you'd love. You know, I dream I want to be a rich rock star, traveling the world, making millions of dollars, and having hit songs that sell gazillion copies. And like, I mean, maybe that's a dream, I guess. And maybe when I was younger, that was a dream that I had. But I really choose to look at all of what I do especially planning for the future, through the lens of vision. And what vision do I have for myself going forward? And the difference in dream and vision to me, a dream is this nebulous, fuzzy thing that exists way out there somewhere, whereas a vision is a very definite point in the future that you see with great clarity. And to me, that vision comes from a few things. It comes from being able to look behind you, look in the rearview mirror for just a moment to see where you've come from. It's easy for me to look at the last 30 years, especially this year, to look at the last 30 years of my life and see where I've come from just since I moved to Atlanta. And for you to really get some clarity on where you're going to go in the future, you got to be able to look back to see where you've come from. Because once you see where you've come from, that gives you the context to really understand where you are right this moment. And this is where you've got to get brutally honest with yourself about where you are in the trajectory of your journey. And with people that I'm coaching, with students that I have, with people that I've mentored over the years, there is always this point where we have to get very, very honest about where that person is. And believe me, as incredibly honest as I can be with anyone else, I'm 10 times more honest with myself in looking at my successes and my failures and really where am I sitting at this moment from a 360-degree view. I put a lot of time and a lot of thought into really looking around. And then occasionally I will ask other people that I trust to give me an evaluation or to tell me how they see where I'm at this point. It helps to inform that picture that I'm coming up with. But then once I have that, I know the details of where I've come from. I know what I've been through. I know the great choices I've made. I know the horrible choices that I've made, the horrible actions I've taken, the very productive, proactive steps that I've taken and that have got me to the point I'm at. And then I take a look at the landscape around me to see what the rest of the world is like. When I was 23 years old, 21 years old, 18 years old, yeah, I definitely had some dreams or visions of becoming like this international superstar, rock star, like you think of a Dave Grohl now or something like that. But when I look at the landscape that is in front of me now as a 53-year-old man, number one, there aren't a whole lot of rock stars anymore. And there's not any I can think of that become rock stars in their 50s. They might have become rock stars a long time ago and they're still that way. But I can't think of any. You might want to, in the comments below, tell me if I'm wrong. Is there somebody who became a rock star in their 50s? So the inevitability of that is low. The odds of that are probably pretty low. So you've got to take a look at where you are and your circumstances and look at the landscape. There's just not a lot of rock stars at all. Not compared to as many as there were 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. So you just kind of get a real idea of what the entire landscape looks like, or as much as you can take in. And then that helps to inform some point in the future. I'm going to point right through the camera. Some point in the future that you can really focus your attention on and very expertly try and get a real clear vision of where that's going to be, whether that's a year from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, or in my case, I'm even looking at like 20 or 25 years from now. What is my vision for what my life and my career look like that far in the future? And I try to get a very, very detailed picture at any of those intervals of what is my life going to look like. If I take a certain ordered pathway of different action steps, and if I'm really paying attention to the feedback that I get as I move through each one of those steps, like what is the most likely place that I'm going to end up? What does that look like for me? So vision is way more detailed and, to me, more inspiring than just having a dream. Because a dream is really hard to pin everything on. But a vision, man, it makes it so much easier to pin all of what comes next on that vision, because now you've got direction. Dreams are just kind of out there. Vision requires a real direction for you to head. So at that point, once I've gotten some clarity on what that future looks like, what is my vision for the future, then I'm able to start to pull together maybe not all of the action steps that it's going to take to get to where I want to go, but I at least can give myself enough of a runway filled with ordered action steps so that I can get started moving in the right direction. And at this point, as you're starting to put your action steps together and decide what your assets and resources are that are going to help you move through those action steps, this is the point when it's great to have a coach or a mentor, someone who is further down the line, someone who's further down the continuum, so that you can have someone who's more informed, who may have a more objective view, and may have some experience in that particular direction that you're trying to head. I'm going to share a piece of my journey with you that I really have not put on a YouTube video. And I haven't talked about this very much publicly because it's so personal. But when I was 22, almost 23 years old, right around the time I turned 23, I had graduated college. And when I was in college, I studied music, but I majored in nursing. That was my primary focus. So I graduated at age 22 with a nursing degree, and I got my nursing license. I got a job working in general peds at a hospital in my hometown. I've been working there for several months, and I knew what I wanted to do with my life, and I knew what some of my plans were. But other than maybe letting my parents have some general idea of what I was doing, I'd really not shared that with anybody. And so the lady who was my boss, the nurse manager for my floor, approached me one day with some great opportunities. And she was just sharing with me, based on how she'd gotten to know me over the last 6 months or so that I'd been working for her, she really thought that I would be the person to best step into certain situations and take advantage of certain opportunities that they had there as an employee of that hospital. And she even went so far as to, kind of give me a path of, well, over the next year, you could work yourself into a position where, kind of like a shift leader, where you're sort of over a group of nurses on a particular shift. Anytime that you're here, you're sort of the person that looks out over everybody else and manages them. And eventually, you could move to the day shift, because I was working nights. Like, you could move to the day shift, and once you're sort of the nurse manager for this day shift, then the only next step then is, well, at some point somebody's got to be able to do my job, because she was going to retire at some point. A few years down the road, when she got ready to retire, she would need a successor, and I seemed like I would be a perfectly good candidate based on what she knew about me and my work ethic and my ability to work with other people and work with kids, all that stuff. And and then past being the floor manager for that particular unit, there were a lot of opportunities for men in the hospital and medical industry in the administrative side of things. So, eventually I could go back to school and get some other things that I needed and become a hospital administrator. And she really laid out this vision that was pretty clear, and it was based on what some other people had done, I would guess. And after she made a case for this, and very enthusiastically shared this with me, I had to be honest and say, well, that's a great vision, but I don't think it's the vision for me. It's not where I've got my life pointed. And I shared with her in great detail what my vision was for myself for the next 6 or 8 months. Within the next 6 or 8 months, I plan on leaving here and leaving you and moving to Atlanta. And I just told her that I had my life pointed in the direction of becoming a full-time working musician. And that meant that I would be traveling and playing some gigs probably. That meant that I'd be working in studios and making albums. And I had other visions for myself where I would actually own a studio and I would produce projects and produce artists and be a professional creative in the music and audio space. And as nice as she could tell me, she basically told me that was the worst idea that she had ever heard of, especially for someone like me who had spent so much time putting themselves in this position as a registered nurse working in a hospital. Why would I go through all of that school, all that time, all of that hardship, and get to this place where it's only up from here, baby. Why would I want to basically start over in a completely different career path in a different town where I didn't know anybody, and in a career that seemed like it was such a lottery draw, like as if you don't have any control over whether or not you make it. And she very politely told me she thought that I was ridiculous for having that kind of vision for myself. Thankfully, 2 things. I was not cocky, but I was confident enough in myself, mainly in my work ethic, that I believed that I could have anything that I wanted for myself. As long as it was legal and ethical, I could have anything I wanted for myself in the future if I was willing to work hard enough to achieve those things, work the right steps in the right order to achieve those things, and also be patient enough to take the amount of time that it would take to reach whatever those goals were, to meet whatever that vision was. And so I had that in my favor, so that helped buffer the feelings I probably should have had. It didn't crush me that she basically told me I was an idiot. It didn't crush me. But I also had a mentor. I had one of my professors from college who not only had seen me for 4 years in college, go through his music program as I was doing the nursing stuff, but he also had been on gigs with me. He had played gigs with me, hired me for gigs, seen me on other gigs. He had seen me, and I'll be honest, I wasn't great at that time. And we're talking my early 20s. I was good for where I lived probably, but when we're talking about becoming a professional at a really high level, that's a 1% group. As far as most people think about it, they think, it's only the best of the best that get to do this as their career, especially 30 years ago. And this mentor I had, this professor I had, he'd seen all that I'd accomplished in the 4 years that I'd been around him, and he was very encouraging. And essentially that was his message to me was, you've got a great work ethic. You're a smart kid and you've got a great work ethic. So you got something great to start with. As long as you take the right steps and move forward in the right way, and the right things in the right order, don't put the cart in front of the horse, you've got a really good shot. And if you'll be patient enough to take whatever amount of time it takes, you're going to be fine. You're going to, some version of this thing that you have in your brain for yourself, in your mind's eye you have for yourself, you'll be able to get there. And so I had that also to weather the detractors that would basically tell me that I was an idiot and that what I wanted was impossible. And so having that mentor, having that teacher in my corner, and to this day, I mean, I had lunch with him in his hometown this past year, and he's still incredibly encouraging. He's watched for the last 30 years as I've built this thing that I've been building, and he's just been, even to this day, so encouraging for wherever I'm headed next with what I'm doing. And so that's super duper important. And so I say that to let you know I do have 3 slots that I'm leaving open right now, and if you'd be interested, I would really like to help you with your journey. I would really like to help you codify that vision, really focus and clarify that vision you have for yourself. Begin to put some action steps toward the thing that you want for yourself in the future, and also be someone that you can be accountable to make sure that you get those things done. That's incredibly important. That's why you need a coach, why you need a mentor, why you need someone who is further down the continuum in their journey, that is informed enough to be able to hold you accountable and make sure that you continue to do the things that you say you're going to do and head in the direction that you say is most important for you. So I'm going to leave you with one more idea, and it has to do with this idea of anytime you develop a vision for yourself, anytime you get really clear about what it is that you want for yourself, you're going to have people on both sides of this fence. You're going to have people that are going to be incredibly encouraging for whatever reason. You're going to have people that are incredibly discouraging for whatever reason. You're going to be surprised at who those people are. So I want to caution you to be careful with who you share your vision with, because as I've seen in my own life, some of the people that are closest to you are the people that are most discouraging of your vision. They can be people in your family that you might want to share that vision with, that they only see you as you are now, and they only see you as you've been. And they don't have the same vision for you that you have. They only really see what's in front of them. And they may not mean to be discouraging. They may have incredibly good intentions in not being encouraging to you. In my case, I had a parent who, he didn't mean to be a discouragement. He just didn't know how to encourage me. And so anything that he said always had a ring of discouragement to it. And even years after I'd gotten pretty far into my journey, you know, he would make statements like, you know, he would say things like, "Oh, you know, if you ever need to go back to that nursing, man, if you ever need to go back to that nursing, you need to make sure it's still there." Like, I remember one time, God, I'm getting really, I'm going to be real vulnerable with you. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. I had, it's one of the first times that my dad saw me play a professional gig. He came down to see me play at a casino with a Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame group. And he understood what was happening. He could kind of see, oh, well, my son is playing for these people, and there's a lot of people here. People bought tickets and all that kind of stuff. But at some point in this weekend of my parents being around, like, you know, he kind of stopped and he was like, "Oh, boy, are you making any money? Are you making any money doing this? I mean, are you keeping up with that nursing? I mean, that license, I mean, you worked really hard. You know, you could always You could always go back to that. Like he'd point me in the direction of a fallback position. And I don't think that he meant for it to be a discouragement, but it easily could have been. Again, I was confident enough and I had achieved enough at that point to know that I was heading in the right direction. And I just had to say, Dad, listen, I'm not making a lot of money right now, but I'm making about the same amount of money that I would be making if I was doing nursing. So as long as I can kind of trade apples for apples financially like that, I'm going to keep heading down this road. I think it's going to get better. It's going to be fine. You don't need to worry. It's fine. And I wasn't trying to get his validation at that point. I'd already validated myself. And that's my dad, you know. He wasn't trying to be a discouragement. He just didn't understand. To him, the only people that made any money or made a considerable, stable living in music were like Willie Nelson and Kiss. I don't know, like that was about the extent of his knowledge of the music business. Like if you weren't like, you know, Kenny Rogers or something like that, like, and that was just, he wasn't informed. And so to share my vision with him, it would have probably dashed all my hopes, and he wouldn't have intended to. There's somebody in your life that you want to be your cheerleader or your champion, and they may not be. That may not be the role that they play in your life, and nor should they. So that's why you need a coach, why you need a mentor. But that also brings me to something, and I'm not talking about my dad when I say this. So, Dad, if you're watching, this next part is not about you. It's about other people. You're going to have people that offer you advice, and people, especially that criticize you. And over especially the last 30 years, I've had some people criticize me to my face, and I've had probably 10 times as many people criticize me outside of earshot. That the piece of advice that one of my mentors gave me about 10 years after I moved to Atlanta was this: never accept advice or criticism from someone that you wouldn't trade lives with. I wish someone would have given that to me in my late teens and early 20s. It would have saved me a ton of heartache. I had to get pretty well into my 30s before someone shared that with me. It changed my perspective. There are close friends of mine who, regardless of their intentions, have either given me advice or given me critiques over the years that I just have to filter it through the lens of, would you trade lives with this person? And if you wouldn't trade lives with this person, you should not accept their advice or their criticism. Accept, again, I told you, words are important to me. Accept is a powerful word. All of the criticism or all of the bad advice that gets lobbed at you is not something that has to stick to you. The only stuff that sticks are the things that you choose to accept. The rest of it just either bounces off or it never even touches you. And so you never give it any air in your brain. So when it comes to advice, this is my extra little freebie for you. When it comes to advice, never accept advice or criticism from someone who you wouldn't trade lives with. So I've been very cautious about anyone that I've enlisted the help of as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, as a confidant. I've been very careful to filter every person and the things that I hear from them or the sentiments that I get from them through that one particular filter of, would I trade lives with that person? So I'm going to give you that last one as a freebie. Hopefully there's going to be somebody out there that's the thing you needed to hear today. And I'm glad I could deliver it to you. The person that delivered it to me was someone that I would have, at the time, would have traded lives with in a moment's notice. and he continues to be a good friend to this day. And so I'm going to leave you with that. Listen, I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope that this has been valuable. I'm going to do another one of these Remix in 26 videos for you tomorrow. I'm going to try and do one every day this week and one every week following through the end of the year. I would love to be that person that helps you move into the vision that you have for yourself for the future. I would love to be that person that's in your corner. I've got 3 slots available. I've got time for 3 people. If that's something that interests you, just shoot me an email, brian@brianstevens.com. Or you can go to my website, brianstevens.com. There's a contact form there. Just shoot me some information, throw your hand up and say, hey man, I'd love to talk with you. Let's set up just an hour together so that we can get started. I'll tell you what that involves and what that costs, and it's not very expensive, to be honest. It's not very expensive at all for the good that you're going to get out of it. We can sit for an hour and we can start together, and you can see if it's a good fit for you. And the 3 people that I'm looking to fill these 3 slots that I have on Mondays are people that will make at least a 6-month commitment, that will work together to move you in the direction of whatever your vision is for yourself for the next year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. We'll work on whatever it is that is you want to work on. And I really believe that you can have anything in life that you want. Zig Ziglar used to say you can have anything in life that you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. I believe that to a certain degree. But I also believe you can have anything in life that you want for yourself if you're willing to put in the amount of work it's going to take to get there. You're able to agree to work whatever the steps are that you need to work. And some of them you don't choose, and some of them you can't sidestep. But you're willing to do whatever the action steps are to get you to where you need to go, and you're willing to be patient enough to take the amount of time that it's going to take to get you where you want to go. So that's all I've got for you today on this video. I hope it's been valuable. If it has, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. And please leave a comment below. Let me know what your vision is or what your dream is for yourself. And I would love to hear what it is that you have in front of you that you're trying to accomplish. I would love to hear that. So thanks so much for spending time with me. If you made it this far through the video, it says a lot about you and how it's a very good bellwether for the likelihood that you're going to get what you want. So thanks for watching. Until next time, be awesome to yourself. Be extra awesome to everyone that you come across today. Everybody that you meet, everybody that you talk to, everybody you interact with. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks so much.